Hello everyone, I am here in Lord House, one of the beautiful historical homes on the campus of Brewster Academy here in Wolfeboro. And I'm here today with Nancy Hughes, who is directing a really interesting pair of cultural events only available here in Wolfeboro this summer. And one of them is actually virtual, so people can see it from anywhere in the world. I'm Suzanne Morrissey, I'm the Director of Communications here at Brewster, and thank you for joining us. Nancy, how are you?
I'm great, and thank you, Suzanne, for organizing all of this and letting us be here and letting people come in. Let me first tell people a little bit about the 200 Women exhibition. It is an international photographic exhibition of large-scale photographs. Women from all over the world were photographed behind this neutral background, and while they were photographed by Kieran Scott, I should say it was the genius behind this exhibition comes from Ruth Blackwell and Jeff Blackwell and Ruth Hobday, and Kieran Scott has done all of the photography, and they're out of New Zealand. And while they were photographed behind this neutral background, they were also filmed. They were filmed answering 5 questions. And the questions are, what really matters to you? Mm-hmm. What brings you happiness? What would you change if you could? What do you consider to be the greatest depth of misery? Mm-hmm. And which single word do you most identify with?
Those are very interesting questions.
They're great questions. They're great questions for all ages, I think. I mean, that's part of what drew us, into this exhibition. It lends a real richness to it all. So we, as I think you had mentioned before, we set out to, as we were preparing for Brewster Academy's bicentennial, it was in 2020. We were really excited to have the chance to host this and welcome the town and all of our surrounding communities to it here on campus.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is an exhibition that has really rarely been in the United States. So the fact that it was coming to Wolfeboro and now is in Wolfeboro again is quite special, quite unique.
Yes.
Please go on.
Yes. It was in New York City in its biggest form, and that means with all 200 images in various sizes. Obviously, that's beyond our our capacity. So we have 46 of the actual images here in Wolfeboro, but we also have 9 on video in a high definition video format here in Lord House.
And you were saying that this was planned to be part of Brewster's huge bicentennial, but
it was indeed, and it was devastating. Right at the time, we were in full throes of our planning. We all know what happened. Things were shut down, and we had at that so we had to reimagine a number of things. But as I think so many of us have seen, that there was a whole lot of devastation and trauma that emerged through the course of the pandemic. But there also were these sort of new opportunities. And part of the vision of Brewster Academy, it has a rich history with the town. And part of the vision of the school is actually to recognize that relationship ever more deeply and to find ways to be, to really look for ways in which we can partner together. And so what happened after the pandemic? Well, we're not even after the pandemic, but as we had to pause on 2020, we wanted everyone to come, right? Mm-hmm. We wanted to open the place up for everyone. That was then not a possibility.
Right. And we were so excited to host it. That was going to be so much fun.
It was going to be great. Because we wanted everyone to enjoy our campus and all of that. But what then emerged is this cool opportunity, and this was not my idea. I will credit sort of the likes of Suzanne and Marcia Trook and a lot of other people who were playing important roles in this project. But this idea came, how about if we could partner with different locations that, so we went to the town, and the Great Hall is a beautiful space that Wolfeboro gets to inhabit and use
at Town Hall.
In Town Hall,
Yeah,
the Great
yeah.
Hall in Town Hall, which again, that Town Hall, it has its history is tied to John Brewster as well. So I think that was a really neat note. And then again, things were going to be kicking off this past fall, so the fall of 2021, and as Omicron or Delta, I can't even remember at this point, which part of it all was rearing its head, we had to pause again.
Yeah.
And at that point, it allowed us to engage with the public library. And I have to say,
Beautiful.
yeah, that I'm so excited about that, in part because, this exhibition and the project behind it, it is very much, we've got these striking photographs, really striking photographs. But where I think the power comes, the really compelling part of the exhibition, comes from the interplay of image and word, right? All of these women have stories to tell. All of they have answered, and these stories emerge from their responses to the 5 questions. And so, to me, it is an exhibition about people's stories, right? And so we need the images and the words together. And I love that the library, the place of stories, right, the place of language, is able to be one of our locations. So the exhibition here in this house, in Lord House, we've clustered them. We have 6 clusters, and 2 clusters are in this house. And then 2 clusters will be at the Great Hall, and 2 clusters are at the library.
And the great thing about it is that you can plan a day in Wolfeboro, which is a great town to visit, even without the 200 women photographic exhibition here.
Absolutely.
Park somewhere in town, take a walk from the from the town hall, walk easily down here to Lord House, walk easily down to the library. It's all fairly flat. And it's less than a half mile.
Oh, it's less.
The whole
it's
length.
Very flat.
So you can take like a little walking tour and
Right.
see these different photographs in the exhibition. And as Nancy said, as you said, there are different clusters, so different themes that you'll experience in each place. And of course, each of the portraits has a little explanation, just like if you're in a museum, a little plaque with some explanation, who these women are. We didn't mention that some of these women are celebrities. Some of these are very well-known women. I
Yeah.
think you've got Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
We do
you have
right out in
some
the hallway. Yeah.
Actresses, Alfred Woodard and Ashley Judd and a few other actresses, but also women who are known in their fields other than acting, obviously. So there are some celebrities here, but then also everyday people who've experienced extraordinary things. And I think that's what ties everything together, for me anyway, as I'm looking through the portraits. And of course I got to have a sneak peek, so that was really nice. We've already started having some folks coming through Lord House for some of our Brewster Academy special events. But we're excited that in May, that's when these 3 locations are going to be open. So very, very soon, they're going to be open for anyone to come through, free of charge, obviously no fee. It's just a cultural experience that we're excited to share.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the days that it's available and the hours? I have the little card.
Yes. I mean, Lord House, we're open here on Tuesdays through Thursdays, 10 to 3. But at the library in the town hall, it's regular operation hours for them. So there's just great opportunities. Less so on the weekends in terms of town hall and here, but the library is open on Saturdays for a good chunk of the time.
That's usually when I'm there.
Yeah.
Let me ask. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to mention again, at some point, maybe we can get a close-up of the labels. But because we have a page of text that shares with viewers the women's responses to the questions, but we also have our students way back when in 2020, when they were working on this exhibition and trying to help us prepare and to think about, well, what will be, how is a viewer going to come through? What will a viewer see? So we had the kids, we asked them to identify what they thought the key quotations were, or at least quotations that stuck to them, spoke to them. about who these women are. And so you'll find on the label the quick bio. You'll also see each woman's word, that single word that they most identify with, at least at that moment when they were being asked. And then some quotations pulled from the larger text. So we very much invite you all, as you're moving through the exhibition, if you can join us here in person, to take, if you can't read the whole script, the sort of all of the responses to the 5 questions, I really do urge you to hone in and to know that those are from a teenager's perspective. Those are words that a teenager has chosen to make sense, or at least what he or she thought a viewer would benefit from reading to understand the woman well. There are also QR codes, which are quick response codes. I think we all got used to using them at restaurants and whatnot during the pandemic. But they are there, and they will take you to small videos of the women talking about the different questions. And then sometimes if you come to a label and you see more than one QR code, that means that the woman has been part of a compilation video. So that might take you to a video where you also might get to hear from some women that aren't part of R46, and that hopefully will be a nice addition to your experience. So earbuds are good, or whatever you call them, earplugs. What do you call them?
We're not very technologically advanced, the two of us.
No.
AirPods.
AirPods,
is that what they're called?
or just
AirPods, earbuds. Things you listen with.
Right, and if you have obviously your cell phone, it works on both an Android and Mac and all of them.
And you'll see around town that we've printed these wonderful little cards that talk about not only the 200 Women exhibition and the 3 places to see it and the hours, but also the other exciting experience that we're going to share in a couple of seconds called Our Shared Humanity. It's a virtual speaker series. But before we leave the 200 Women, you've spent so much time with these portraits and studying these women and speaking with the people who put this all together. Who are some of your favorites? And why?
Gosh.
Who moved you?
Do you know, I have to say, when projects drag on, it can be hard, right? We've sort of been going at this now for about 3 years. And whenever I came back to the women themselves, I was always inspired. It always energized me. I didn't feel that they have been the compelling force for me in all of this. So it's hard to pick a favorite. I guess I'll say we've placed Nicole Tung up here above the mantle in a sort of revered spot.
Nice.
She probably, for most of our viewers, isn't as famous as maybe obviously Ruth Bader Ginsburg or Chimamanda Adichie, but she's a photojournalist, and she has she's born in Hong Kong. She has spent a lot of time in America, and then now she's based out of Turkey, and she's covered the Syrian war. She's covered Iraq. She's covered Burma, Myanmar. She is one, and I think I was compelled to place her there because right now, as we're in the midst of so much chaos and devastation in Ukraine, we understand what it is. We do understand about that from women like her who are really very much putting themselves at risk. And what she talks about is the importance of truth. And she knows her work is frightening, very dangerous at all levels. And her work can be found in Wall Street Journal, New York Times, all of the publications that you might imagine. But she sort of speaks for the need of truth. Yeah. And I think now more than ever, whether it's nationally, internationally, we need that. So she's a real champion, I think. And then I also would say here, not in this room, this cluster is called The Power of Story. And the cluster out in the hallway and the dining room is called Revolutionary Resilience. And Diane Foley is a part of that cluster, and so many of us know of her story here in Wolfeboro, and she's someone that I'm just have enormous admiration and respect for her, and her resilience, and also her conviction, her drive to truth and really justice.
And justice, yeah. You know, I haven't told you this, but you know, I've been a journalist my whole career, and now I'm working as a director of communications here, and I love it. But years ago, when sadly Diane's son Jim was murdered by terrorists, that story, I mean, it affected all of us, and it was national, international news, but that story really stuck with me, and the grace that the family showed at the time really stuck with me as a journalist who's nowhere near in the realm that Jim was. You know, I'm not a conflict journalist by any means, but it just, something really struck me personally about that, and how important that work is, and how brave that work is. And then all these years later, I moved to Wolfeboro to work at Brewster. I find out Diane Foley is one of my neighbors. She was our commencement speaker last year here at Brewster. I got to meet her in person. It was really a full circle moment, I think, on that story of Jim. And it just really affected me personally. So seeing her as part of the 200 women, and seeing her portrait, which is very moving, just the photograph is so moving, I just think it's really something everybody should experience. It's so important. So yeah, I think it's great. Now, speaking of commencement speakers, one of the 200 women is going to be our commencement speaker this year in just about a month here at Brewster, and that's Aminata Forna.
Yes.
And we actually have, I started her book Happiness, and we have her new book here, Notes from a Life in Motion, The Window Seat, which is her brand new collection of essays.
Yes.
I feel like I'm on QVC holding the books up.
Well, the good news now is that The Window Seat is just out as of a couple weeks ago in paperback.
And people, you can get them locally at the library, at the country bookseller. You know, all of our local wonderful independent bookshops should be able to have these for you or order them for you. So Aminata's going to be our speaker, and why don't you tell us a little bit more about her?
I am drawn to her photograph because I'm drawn to her and all she stands for. And she is, Miss Forna was born, her mother's from Glasgow and her father's from Sierra Leone, and her life has taken her across the globe, really. And she writes about, in many, having lived through, with her own personal experience, lived through enormous conflict in the Civil War in Sierra Leone. She is able to and willing to explore the trauma that emerges from all of that, and also the grace and the hope that emerges from such periods of conflict. Her own father was a minister, a finance minister in Shaka Stevens' government in Sierra Leone in the late 60s, 70s, into the 70s, and then was wrongly imprisoned and a false trial, charges brought up, and he ended up being murdered as well. And yet there's a great, throughout all of her work, there's, I think, a great sense of humor and hopefulness. And Nicole's word is hope, right? That single word that she most identifies with is hope. So Amanita is, I think, a great representative of so much of what this exhibition aims to do, right? To bring a sort of sense of this book, Happiness, which I'm going to be as part of our speaker series, which I'll sort of talk about more formally in a second. But what she does is she starts, I love this book in that it starts really at a place where so many of us in New England can identify. Kind of a cold winter, it's back a few, it's back in the early 1800s, but nevertheless, she starts us there, and then we end up spending a lot of time in London, where we spend up in various parts of Ghana, in Bosnia. We're sort of all over the globe through these characters, both their memories and their professions. And in that, again, as I said, she's a representative in many ways of the kind of global quality of this exhibition, and of both its There are women here who have, in various ways, confronted really powerful challenges, daunting things that could fell easily an individual, but there's an enormous amount of resilience in these women and an enormous amount of hope and love. And I think her work aptly draws out all of those elements. So I will be later in the month, I'll be offering a sort of my take on the book, and that will be on the 17th of May, and then on the 18th of May I'll be in, that's all virtual, but I'll be live in person at the public library, hosting a book group discussion there as well.
Live and in person.
Live and in person.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
We've mentioned, oh, I'm so sorry.
No.
We've mentioned some of the women who are featured in this 200 Women Project, and they have experienced trauma. And it is beautiful to see how the resilience of the human spirit can come back. But I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say there's also a lot of joy. It's not all about trauma and how I overcame it.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of joy and beauty and truth in these women's experiences that I think, man or woman, you can really relate to some of the things that they're saying in their quotes and in their words, and their insights just sort of help lift us all up.
Yeah.
You walk out of here smiling.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Amanita talks about the importance of stories and how stories connect us. They help us understand who we are, and they also help us see the interconnectedness of all of us. And that is, it's cool. All of these women, as they're up on the walls, they are all in dialogue with each other now, right? And I think that is what art does as at its best. It pulls us into dialogue with it. These different women sort of speak to each other as they rest on the walls next to each other. They're coming from all over the place. So it's a really a hopeful collection. And that's why, if I can just share what we've, when we think about how did we come to having a speaker series, we like the questions so much.
The five galvanizing questions.
Five questions so much. We thought, wouldn't it be cool to kind of put in place some other kind of programming that would allow us to invite people to think more deeply about those questions. So that's how we come up with 5 talks. And we just, Tuesday night, on April 26th, we had our first in a series of 5 events, all virtual events. Dr. Jennifer Martinez, she's a historian, focused on the classics, and she did a beautiful presentation, really incredible presentation, in which she drew parallels between women in the ancient world and 3 of our featured women. And it's up on our website. Yep. Which I'll give you in a second. Yep. So anyone can watch that now in its recorded form. And I told my mom about all of this great stuff happening, and she shared it with her book club, and a couple of the women from her book club who aren't going to be able to come over to see the exhibition, they signed up for Tuesday's, virtual webinar, and they said, I can't believe I got to partake in something at that cultural level virtually, and it was right here in the Lakes region. So I thought that was a really nice compliment to the level of interest that I think people are going to have when they get to hear these other speakers. That's great to hear.
Let me give the website, though, for people. Again, you're going to see these cards all over town, so help yourself. But, Brewster Academy is www.brewsteracademy.org. And then you want to say / Our Shared Humanity. Our Shared Humanity is the name of the speaker series. And if you go to that website, you will find links to sign up for the remaining 4 evenings. They're the next 4 Tuesdays. And I think you'll really enjoy seeing some of the videos that we already have up there. And you'll get a little taste of the exhibition before you come over. Yes,
which would be great.
Yeah.
Really great. So as we came up with this idea of having some extra programming, we decided to frame it around the question. So Dr. Martinez took up, this question of what really matters to you, and she explored what matters through the ages. Dr. Maria Sanders from Plymouth State University is going to be talking next Tuesday night about the nature of happiness. And then
Doesn't she get into the happiness index? I read something a little bit about her work. There's that happiness index in the Norwegian countries, Scandinavian countries, not Norwegian, Scandinavian, Norway's part of that. They're always high on that list. And it's fascinating how the Scandinavian countries always hit the top of that happiness scale.
Well,
I believe she talks about that a little bit.
Well, she's done a lot of research and spent a lot of time in her own work as a philosopher, exploring, what is it that we seek, and what's sort of real and what do we imagine, and there's that whole science of understanding happiness has been emerging over the past 20 years. So I'm really excited for her talk. I've never met her, so I'm really excited. But it's been fun, and it's been lovely the way these speakers have been able to remain invested and committed to this project as we've had various delays along the way. And then we will Diane Foley will join us for a conversation, and we're all looking forward to that. She's her story is remarkable, and she's gone on and created this foundation, the James Foley Foundation, which does remarkable work. And we all are well served to know a great deal about what that organization is, what it does, and why it's important for all of us, actually, to be supportive of the kind of work Diane does.
Well, and it's so timely right now, too, because the Marine who had been held in a Moscow prison has just been released last night. You probably saw it on the news. And her foundation, it really does partner with the federal government and other agencies to try to help free American hostages abroad. And they are a huge support to family members who find themselves in the same terrible situation that the Foleys found themselves in.
And there also, a lot of her work focuses on sort of education for photojournalists, for particularly freelance photojournalists who are headed into a field where they might confront, things that they can't imagine they would confront. So.
So
really,
she's coming
really
up on
She's coming
May
up on
10th,
May 10th.
right? Okay, I
Then
have to look at the card.
I will be leading us through a talk. Obviously, by book talk, it's going to make a lot more sense for people who've read the book, but everyone's welcome. And then we'll end the series with a panel discussion. And this is really taking up the question of what would you change if you could? And our panelists are thinking about the need to change the sort of nature of polarization in our world. And we have Linda Murray representing a local perspective. We have Jeb Bradley representing a state perspective. And Karen Boykin-Towns will be joining us for a broader national perspective. She's the vice president NAACP, and she, we're just thrilled to have her rounding out this discussion about how do we move through and beyond the state of polarization that we find ourselves in. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Great.
Yeah.
And they're so excited to be coming to have that conversation. I think it's virtually. Again, you can do this from your own home.
Yeah.
If you are, staying home because of COVID threat or because you broke your foot or you just don't want to be around people, this is the best thing for you. I have some friends who live in the Taylor community, and they're super excited because they're dealing with a little illness, and they said, we feel like we're so isolated, but they got to go to the first one virtually, and they said, I just felt so connected to the community.
Lovely.
And I love that.
Lovely.
I mean, there are some benefits to the pandemic
virtual,
forcing us into the virtual world a little bit more.
Right, yes, you don't have to,
I don't know why I just said that thing about breaking your foot. That was weird. I'm sorry, viewer.
Well, Oh my heavens.
You know what I didn't mention at the beginning of this? I should say thank you so much to WCTV, our cable part, our community TV partners here. They're allowing us to have this time to do this, and they're just such a great organization. So we say thank you for helping spread the word about this.
And I also want to thank the New Hampshire Humanities who helped to make our Shared Humanity speaker series possible. And we're really proud about that connection and also grateful for their help in, allowing us to pull that off.
Yeah. I mean, the grant that they've provided for this is really important to helping spread the word and helping everything get set up, so it's very exciting. They do some amazing...
They do
They sponsor amazing programming, so we're really honored to be part of that.
That's right. And in fact, because we have all become used to logging in to programming online, I think they are playing an ever greater service for all of us in New Hampshire.
I think so too. So what are you hoping, I guess I want to finish up by asking a couple more questions.
Sure.
What do you hope people walk away with when they leave either the speaker series or walking through these beautiful exhibitions? What do you hope what do you hope they take with them?
Gosh, I hope they learn something, I hope they learn something about a person or perspective that they hadn't considered, right? So something new. And I also hope they get a sense of commonality.
Yes.
Right, I guess that would be a great goal, to realize that people from different places, as you move from portrait to portrait, from the town hall to here to the library, that there are these common threads in all of these women, and in all of us. They happen to be women, but a number of, and that's cool and powerful, and a compelling aspect, maybe something unvoiced in our conversation, right? Yet, so many of these women in their full texts have talked about, this isn't about man versus woman. This is about a kind of a human reality.
And there's more that connects us than divides us.
There's more than connects us, right?
Which I know we've heard a lot in the last few years, and I love that phrase. I think that's really something people will walk away with.
I hope so. I think, and I think it's neat to get close to. Again, we haven't fully, many of us, been up and out in galleries, back at museums. Some of us have, some of us haven't, but this gives us, we don't have to travel too far. These spaces aren't, they're spacious enough, but they're not going to be overly crowded. I mean, I love the way in which it's accessible to people in a way that's maybe not daunting for some who have been kind of concerned about the virus.
And if you're not familiar with Brewster's campus, because of course everyone in the area knows Town Hall and our big spire and clock, so it's pretty easy to find there's parking there. Plenty of parking down at the brand new library. But when you come to Brewster, to come to Lord House, the home we're in right now, you just park in our main visitor lot. It's at 80 Academy Drive, right off of South Main. And you just park in the visitor lot and you walk right through the green to the front door of Lord House. It's pretty easy to find. So, like, we're looking out the window here at South Main Street. That's how close it is. So easy to find.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, this has just been really lovely to talk about this. I mean, I know we've talked about it in meetings and things, but just to be in the setting and get to talk about it a little bit more. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you want people to know about? While you're thinking, I'll say, I want people to know that when I walked away from, even though I've been working on this exhibition, helping a little bit, Nancy and Marcia Trook, our colleague, I walked away with a list of names of some women whose portraits I saw and whose plaques I read, who I wanted to know more about, and who just had such a joyful spirit at a time when I think we need more joyful spirits. And so that's what I walked away with, was a list of people I wanted to know more about. Like, how did I not know about this person?
Right, and I have Amanita Forna. I knew her nonfiction.
Yeah.
She was but I did not know her her fiction. I didn't really know, I had seen her essays over the years in the Guardian, different places, but I had never read any of her fiction. And this project led me to read some of her works. And so that's something new and something I'm really grateful for.
If you have a book club, read on the format.
Yes. But I just think it's, I guess when you say, what do you hope people, I hope people will take time to read the words. I hope not, at least what's on the label. I think that just enriches the experience so deeply. And I think we haven't probably emphasized this enough in this chat, that I think it's an exhibition that's really well suited for all ages.
Yeah.
Little kids can see and engage in conversation. I think the 5 questions are great questions for really all ages. And I think that project of saying, which word do you most identify with is a particularly interesting project for children, for grandchildren. As we were engaging in this, we started doing that. We've done that at the table, for dinner. Where are we now? What's the word now? Because the word changes, right?
Yeah.
It's a moment, and then there are some words that we might sort of think of. That one of truth, right? That's one that keeps coming back to me. That wanting to make sure what we're doing has integrity and that there's a truthful quality to all of our engagements.
That's wonderful. Well, I'm so grateful that you and the team kept the spirit alive on this project so we could bring it to the world. Again, Marcia Truck. We love her. She's our colleague. I'm just super excited that this is something that people, the physical exhibition, you really cannot see it anywhere else in North America for the rest of the spring and summer. So May is the time to get here to Wolfeboro. If you're already in Wolfeboro, it's your local town, so you're going to enjoy it. I'll tell you again that the speaker series is called Our Shared Humanity, and the website is brewsteracademy.org/Our Shared Humanity. All the info you could possibly need is there. So I hope you'll come join us either virtually or in person, right?
Every Tuesday night throughout May.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.